I've never been comfortable with my long-term flour storage, and with things progressing the way they are now, I knew it was time to make a change to my long-term food storage program. So I've ordered 3 buckets, 26-pound buckets of wheat, 2 hard white wheat and 1 hard red wheat, and I'm going to start making bread from scratch with this wheat. As you can see, this lot was made on September the 9th, 2016. And it must be sold by September the 9th, 2046. So I feel pretty good about the long-term storage ability of these 3 buckets of wheat. I've seen these 26-pound buckets online for as much as $45. I got these at Walmart.com for less than $16 for a 26-pound bucket. So if this works well, I'm going to be ordering several hundred pounds of this wheat. So let me clamp down the grinder and let's get started. I'm going to be making 1 loaf of bread, which calls for 6 cups of flour. So let's load the grinder and start grinding. And there it is. 20 minutes and 16 ounces of Gatorade later, I now have 7 cups of wheat flour. The recipe calls for 6, but I need another cup to spread on the countertop to knead the dough. So let's make some bread. Okay, I know I said earlier that this was for a single loaf of bread, but it's actually 2 loaves with the 6 cups of flour. So I have 2 cups of warm water, 2/3 of a cup of sugar, 1.5 tablespoons of active yeast, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/4 cup vegetable oil, and 6 cups of wheat flour. First, I'm going to dissolve the 2/3 cup of sugar into the warm water. Next, I'm going to use 1.5 tablespoons of yeast, and then I'm going to stir it in until it becomes creamy and frothy. Now I'm going to mix 2 teaspoons of salt, and 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. And I'm going to stir that in for a little while. Now I'm going to transfer this to my mixing bowl, and then 1 cup at a time, I'm going to mix in my 6 cups of flour and stir as I go. Okay, 6 cups in, and now we have our dough ball. So I'm going to spread some of the flour that I made a little while ago on the table here. Spread it out, and we're going to knead this dough ball. Okay, through the magic of editing, that was about 7 or 8 minutes of kneading. So the next step is to take your bowl and coat it real good with oil. I use the same vegetable oil that I used before. Then take your dough ball, place it in there, and kind of rub it around so that the dough ball is completely covered in this oil. All right. Then the next step is to take a a damp cloth and cover the dough ball in the bowl and let it sit there, checking it maybe every 10 to 15 minutes until the dough ball has doubled in size. And I think that's about a double in size. So I'm going to take this bread out of here and I'm going to knead it again for just a few minutes. Okay, I kneaded that bread for about 2.5, 3 more minutes. Now I'm going to cut it as evenly as I can into the 2 loaves. Now I'm going to take these 2 loaves, I'm going to make them look like loaves, and then I'm going to put them into these greased loaf pans. You can use vegetable oil. I chose to use lard this time. So into the bread pans, and we're going to let that sit until it almost doubles in size again. I have allowed these 2 loaves to rise for about an hour, and they have just about doubled in size. The center has risen about an inch above the pan, so that's about right. These are not the prettiest loaves I've ever made, so I may be tweaking my wheat flour recipe some. But anyhow, it's time to put them in the oven. I have preheated the oven at 350, and I'm going to bake these for 30 minutes. And here's the final product: 2 loaves of bread from hard white wheat bulk storage to loaf bread. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.